Mercenaries or fighters. Some of the men from this group are accused of robberies, rape and massacres by Western countries. But the Wagner Group says it's done nothing wrong. They call themselves musicians and their battles concerts. Intelligence estimates say tens of thousands of Wagner mercenaries have been involved in Ukraine. Russian criminal code bans mercenaries, but private armed security guards are allowed. Led by Evgeny Prigozhin, believed to be close to the Kremlin, the group's been involved in combat operations in Syria, Libya, Sudan, the Central African Republic and Ukraine.
There's a perfectly established command and control system at the Wagner private military company. Everyone is heard, everyone can air their opinion. All conversations end with the phrase, "What other opinion is there? And what else is needed to complete the tasks?" If decisions are made, once it's made, all tasks are carried out and no one can back down. The brutal discipline gives us these opportunities. That is why the Wagner went forward and will go forward.
They do not see themselves as cannon fodder. In their view, they're heroes fighting for their country.
Wagner has its own artillery, aviation. They have their own training centers. It's an interesting solution to create the kind of private military company that Russia has managed to create. They've learned from the British and the Americans.
But that's not unique for the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Analysts say the appeal of private armies means fewer dead soldiers, and these groups are not bound by laws as regular armies. A United Nations study says hired as security guards, private contractors were performing military duties. The UN Working Group says specific judicial actions are needed to prosecute private military and security companies involved in human rights violations. In 2014, the US group Blackwater was found guilty of killing 14 Iraqi civilians in 2007 in Baghdad. It continues its presence with different names. The UAE has been accused of hiring mercenaries in Yemen. German ex-soldiers have been charged with creating a mercenary army to fight for Saudi Arabia. A Hungarian-Israeli private security company owner is accused of hiring US military personnel to kill specific individuals. And there is a long list of guns for hire in international conflicts. According to the UN's Working Group on the Use of Mercenaries, fighters have been involved in gross human rights abuses, possible war crimes and crimes against humanity. The UN recommends effective accountability measures for mercenaries, mercenary-related activity and private security personnel. And unless world powers stop using proxy armies instead of the ones bound by international law, rights abuses will continue on battlefields. Osama Javaid, Al Jazeera, Moscow.
Well, let's now bring in Pavel Felgenhauer. He's a defence and military analyst, and he joins us now via Skype from Moscow. Pavel, it feels like a rift has appeared and is deepening between Wagner and the Kremlin, which is a little surprising given the history. Where is this coming from?
Well, there's a very long history of conflict between the top Russian military leadership and the Wagner Group. The Wagner Group appeared in Ukraine, actually, in the Donbass fighting. After the situation there stabilized in 2015, many fighters there decided it's not interesting to fight because their pay is low, there's no offensive action, no loot, and so they moved into Syria, where Russia began an operation, began fighting there, and already there were serious conflicts between the Russian official military command and the Wagners, who always complained that they were badly supplied, that they got old weapons, not enough munitions, didn't get adequate air support from the Russian military command. And now Wagner moved back into Ukraine and expanded dramatically. They're unlike Western contract contract or mercenary groups. These are frontline crack stormtroops. They're used like that. So that's a very big difference. They can have heavy losses, but they also have the capability, have shown the capability to advance in very serious situations and sustain losses. And their owner or financier and leader, Evgeny Prigozhin, is using that as a platform to attack personally the defense minister, his number 2 chief of general staff, General Valery Gerasimov, who's right now actually in charge of the overall military operation in Ukraine.
Let me ask you about that, Pavel, because I understand that Prigozhin was rumored to be fairly close to the previous chief in charge of that operation, Surovikin, and there was that shuffle that happened about a month ago, and now Gerasimov is in charge. Is this about alliances? Is that why we're seeing now this renewed criticism?
Gerasimov, who has been chief of general staff and first deputy defense minister since 2012, for already 10 years, more than 10 years, he has promoted a group of generals, mostly tank generals, and Prigozhin has conflict with most of them. Surovikin is a bit outstanding there, so he also was in command in Syria, together with the Wagners, and he apparently has a bit better relationship.
Sure.
There has been a change in command, and right now Gerasimov is in overall control, and his staff is in overall control, including logistics, supplying everything that the Wagner needs, and they're accusing him of personally of being inadequate, and also of his group of generals also being inadequate. So this is an open conflict.
And it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out, especially with ammunition in the coming weeks. That dynamic is going to be something we'll keep an eye on. Pavel Felgenhauer there, a defense and military analyst speaking to us from Moscow. Thank you, Pavel.
Thank you.